Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hello, everybody. It is weekly wow time, weekly words of wisdom on Jam Session. You get to choose. You are our guest of honor today. We are doing a Just Ask Michael. You can ask me anything. You can literally ask me anything, and I will give you an answer, sometimes even a straight answer. So bottom line is you can join us today by signing on to, I'm going to give you a code here in about 6 hours. Just kidding. Oh my gosh. The WOW join link is, I don't know. I'm going to try this. Let's see if I can do it. I'm going to do this. We're going to make this happen. That's right. I am actually giving you a Zoom link so that you can, it's like a call-in radio show, right? It's like a call-in radio show. You can actually click on the Zoom and join me right now on the air and ask me your question. A lot of the questions that I'm getting right now are how to finish strong. How do we finish 2020, this crazy year? How do we finish 2020 strong? Well, I'm going to tell you a couple of things. Like, one thing is what you can do now. And another thing is, like, what can you do for later? And listen, I will see you when you come in and it says attendee. So click the link. It's in the comments. Click the link. Sherry will post it and repost it. She'll copy, she'll paste it, because I know sometimes the comments will scroll up. But I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions for how to finish strong. And then I'm going to give you a whole lot more if I have time. Number one is join November. November is 30 days. It's a 30-day challenge of writing handwritten notes. That's essentially what it is. I mean, if I'm going to boil it down to its true essence, that's what it is. Now, here's the thing. How did this happen? So a few years ago, I was in, it was like probably 2015, 2014 maybe. And I was in a big session with 100 of the top agents in the country. And believe it or not, you can become one of the top 100 agents in the country and be a curmudgeon. Or I think somebody who started out really happy ended up a curmudgeon in real estate because of other reasons, personal reasons. I think they let the business own them versus them owning the business, but that's a whole nother story. So there was a lady in this top 100 mastermind, and she was like, oh man, look at this. Next month is November. It even has the word no in it, you know, and every fiber in my being literally like repelled that entire like notion and thought. So I started thinking, I wonder if people think of November as November, and how do we, like, what's the opposite of that? And the first thing I did is like, all right, Yes-Vember. And Yes-Vember does not have a very good ring to it. It just doesn't. It just like Yes-Vember. I don't know. It reminds me of Goldmember. I'm sorry. It just does. But here's the thing. I thought, all right, no, you know, Nosevember, right? There's Movember for the mustache stuff, right? For men's testicular cancer prevention or awareness, I think. And then, you know what? I got to thinking, like, what is November? What is November about? November is about Veterans Day. November is about Thanksgiving. November is about fall. November is about pumpkins. November is about, you know, really, it's kind of that second to last month and you're kind of coming into the final years. It's one of those where, so I thought November. So what we're going to do is it's going to be a month of appreciation. So November is your month. I'm going to dedicate it right now. I'm just going to say it is the National Month of Appreciation. And you're going to express your appreciation every day. And if you are going to express your appreciation, and let's say we all want to have this reputation and we all want to leave a legacy of appreciation. So would there be enough evidence to convict us of a life of appreciation? Would there be enough evidence to convict us of having a life of appreciation? And how, like, what is the evidence, right? Is the evidence that, yeah, I told people that I was appreciative. Yeah, but you know what? That's not enough. But what if 1,000 people came to your funeral with the handwritten note that you wrote them? Ladies and gentlemen, that is evidence of your appreciation. So be great at expressing your appreciation. Be great at writing handwritten notes. And we're going to do that in November. It's going to be a 30-day challenge class. It's going to be super duper cheap because all we want is, listen, we can't do it free because you won't show up. You won't show up. You know it. I know it. Same way with me, like weightlifting, right? If I pay a trainer like $30, I'll be there. Like $5, I'd be there. Why doesn't he just take $5 instead of $30? Okay, so anyway, but if we charge you a little bit, then guess what? You're going to show up and make it happen. Oh, Mary, come back. Mary, come back in. I'm sorry. I needed to bring you on, but I was trying to finish my thought on November and writing handwritten notes in November. No matter what you do, I would encourage you to set up your own 30-day challenge to write a handwritten note a day for each day of November. So that's 30 notes in 30 days. You can all write, you can all get notes, you can all say thank you. And guess what? We should, and we're going to do it. We know we should be writing handwritten notes. And hey, take this to your broker, take this to your owner, take this to your boss, take this to your clients, take this to everybody you know. And let's just start an enormous November wave, and let's change the world one note at a time and have everybody writing each other handwritten notes. I remember a time, there we go. I have 2 attendees. You know what? Before I tell you about the time I remember, I was thinking about St. Louis. Like, you St. Louis people, I love you. And I will tell you that when we were doing the mastermind in St. Louis every month, St. Louis was a better place to do work. You know why? Because we were writing handwritten notes to each other. Like, it was like watching popcorn pop in a clear microwave, right? It was like boom, 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 or in a clear pan. It was amazing because there were handwritten notes going all over the place and people were feeling good. They were putting the handwritten notes up on the bulletin boards. They were putting the handwritten notes everywhere. And they were, it was a better place to work. Now, you know, we need to get back to St. Louis. We need to see, hey, listen, if we've lost some of that momentum, let's get it back. You know, let's get it back. All right. So I've got first on deck, Mary Budendeck. So Mary, I'm going to bring you on as a panelist. So make sure your hair is perfect. I'm just kidding. Here we go. And then Sherry McGuire, I'm gonna hold you and bring you on in just a second. Our first caller ever on the jam session with Michael Maher at our weekly wow is Mary. There's never, like, you always remember your firsts. You're my first ever guest on a weekly wow jam session where we go live. So I'm asking you to unmute. So hopefully you can unmute. You need to unmute yourself. Mary, you have a question for us today? Now I know how Dave Ramsey feels when he's on the radio and he goes, hello, Mary, hello. And like, that person's not there. Have you guys ever heard that? Like, it doesn't happen very often because he has an engineer who screens it. All right, Mary, come on. Oh, I am on my desktop with no video or microphone. Okay, I'm gonna put you back into the group, the Gen group. So don't take it personally. All right, there you go. All right, now we are going to bring on Miss Sherry McGuire, one of my favorites. Love her. And oh, did she? Yeah, there we go. I hope that worked. I think maybe I went to put her on, and I think she freaked out. I don't know. Maybe she didn't. You write your handwritten notes the correct way, right? So when you write your handwritten notes, I want you to write power notes. And I'm going to give you some suggestions on this. And this is even above and beyond what you got in the book. And then I've also now put up on the screen panelists and attendees so I can see you when you come on, and I'll try to be better at signing you on. Also, do me a favor, start a watch party and put the Zoom link in the area. So we're talking about notes. We're talking about November. We're talking about handwritten notes and the power of handwritten notes. Not only as a follow-up device, but as a relationship restoration device, as a relationship starter device, right? I know that Sharon Hires moved to a new neighborhood and actually wrote, think about this. Listen to this. This is a pearl from Sharon Hires out of Florida. She did, and she's actually got offices in South Carolina and North Carolina, I believe, as well. But she she moved to a new neighborhood. She wrote everybody in the neighborhood a handwritten note just to say, hi, I am a professional realtor, but I'm not looking for real estate, to help you with real estate services right now. But I wanted to let you know that I am in the neighborhood. I am an expert in real estate. If you have real estate questions, then don't hesitate to ask me. And I'd love to know what you do so that I can refer you and your business. Guess what? 7 listings that she got in a new neighborhood. And she didn't even know these people. One of them, what was it? It was like one person owned 2 houses in the neighborhood, which was fantastic. So Dan Luigs, I'm going to bring you off of, there we go. Promote to panelist. Here we go. Dan's one of my favorites. Speaking of St. Louis, right? Dan, the insurance man, is joining us. Dan, the insurance man, coming on, being unmuted. Look at this, Dan. So Mary Budendeck, you have a soft spot in my heart, but Dan is actually our very first ever live jam session guest. So, and we've got some more questions coming in now. Look at that. All right. So Dan, you have a question for us? First of all, Dan, introduce yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you fine.
Awesome. Well, that's a good start. Dan Luigs, I'm been around the generosity generation for what seems like forever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't edit the book, but wasn't too much long after I got wind of it and changed the trajectory of my career. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you have been an ambassador for a long, long time. And, one of our first masterminds we did was in St. Louis, and we were doing it every week, and you were a mainstay. You were a pillar in the ups, the downs, everything that goes on with a mastermind. And you were a big part of that growth. And that is a behemoth. That is that is how a lot of people have become the most influential people in St. Louis, has been this monthly mastermind. And I remember in the early times is one of the ways we were growing that was just the handwritten notes. Everybody was giving handwritten notes to everybody else. And people were putting them on their bulletin boards and taking pictures of it and sharing it on Facebook. And I don't know if it was you or Ann Aranda or Mary or who was that? Somebody just said, you know what, Michael, St. Louis is a better place to work because of you. And that was like one of the best compliments I've ever gotten in my life. It was just like, isn't that what this is all about? Is just like, and I it's like business church, right? It's like this combination of who we are soulfully with this combination of who we are in capitalism, and it's just, I love that. It was a memorable time, and it was just, it was great to see. So,
yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah. You had a question, I believe, hopefully.
We kind of already answered it.
Okay.
So I'll exclude your answer from the answer. Like what, other than improving all of St. Louis business community.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
What's a memorable note that's come into you that you've received? And sometimes one of the things I like about the book that you wrote is the exact examples. So here's the strategy, but here's how it implemented, and then the follow through. So I'd actually love to hear a note that came to you that stood out.
Yeah. So, what's interesting is that one note I have to tell you about is the one that was like so memorable because it it literally, I forgot who even wrote it. Right. So I got a thank you note. One time I'm doing business in Kansas City, and I got a thank you note. So the front of it had my name written in black or typed. And then I opened it, and it said thank you on the front. And then I opened it up, and it said thank you. And then it had their name signed. And that was literally the entire note. And so it was like the exact opposite of everything that we taught. I mean, how do you take the feeling of a handwritten note and eliminate that great feeling? And it's like do all the things that we don't teach, right? Is put it in black, have it be typed instead of written, be not specific about what you're appreciating, that kind of thing. So that was one memorable note for the wrong reasons. And then the first one that comes to mind is actually one my son wrote. I don't mean to be cheesy like that or whatever, but I remember, and I still have it. And, it just said things like, I love you, Daddy. Thank you for playing catch with me. You're the best. And "your" is spelled Y-O-U-R, something like, and
Right.
it's just like the handwriting was awful. The words were misspelled. The card was a literally piece of cardboard, right? I mean, just folded. and so everybody's always worried about their card. I'm more, is the card going to look good? Is it good? And then they're worried about their handwriting, and then they're worried about their spelling, and it's all those. And should we check our spelling? Probably so. Should we try to write it as legibly as possible? Sure. And should we have the cards look as professional as possible? The answer is sure, but the only wrong note is the one that's unwritten, the one that's not written and not sent. So it's one of those where, write the note, and the worse your handwriting, honestly, the person on the other end might even appreciate it even more, because they know what you had to go through to write that note. I'll tell you, I check it. I see it when people are, and the handwriting's and I'm like, oh, what is that word? And I'm like, you know what? I really appreciate that note. And sometimes I'll even call the person who had that, because I just know like how difficult that note had to be to write, So I've had a lot of memorable notes. When you teach on handwritten notes, you tend to get a lot of handwritten notes.
Yes.
And I've gotten a lot of phenomenal handwritten notes, and lots of memorable ones, lots of really, 7L changed their life notes. And that's amazing. Right. And I think it really leads to, when you see something, say something. When you see something good, when you see, like Dan Luiz, you took the risk of coming on live and making it happen, and making Zoom happen, and asking a question, and making sure the technology worked. And, I want to acknowledge that courage and that bravery and that willingness to go the extra mile to figure it out. You didn't know if it was going to work, but I didn't know if it was going to work.
Right.
But you did it. Right. And when you see something, say something, say something. And even more, if you see something, say something, say it on paper, write something. And that's I think that's the big thing about November is, man, there's been a lot of good things happen to us this year. Have there been a lot of bad things happen? Absolutely. But there's been a lot of good things happen too. And the bottom line is, good things or bad things, we need to appreciate them all. I was just having this discussion with Sherry this morning about the difference between gratitude, being grateful, and appreciation. So, it's one of those where, I believe that gratitude is a subset of appreciation. I believe that responsibility is a subset of appreciation. I believe appreciation covers a lot of things. Respect, I believe, is a subset of appreciation. And it's one of those where I believe optimism is a subset of appreciation. So it's one of those where this is the month to really express our appreciation. So Sherry's like, hey, go to the next guest. And we don't have a next guest. So I'm not going to go to the next guest. So Sherry, get me another guest. So there, right. Oh, So Dan, what's the most memorable note you've ever received?
Well, it was recent,
Oh, wow.
so that makes it more memorable. You can't
Is
quite
that
see
Bob
it.
Berg?
Yeah, that's Bob's. Yeah.
Put it lower. Put it right in front of you.
There we go.
Yeah. So that's from Bob Berg, and that Bob Berg teaches us very similar strategy, right?
Very similar.
And hey, his words are even slanting upwards a little bit. Did you see that?
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a big one right there. You're gonna frame it.
Frame it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did he write? Is it shareable?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I think he'd be all right with it if he was here.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
it
So
says,
Bob Berg is the go-giver. For those of you that don't know, he really is the go-giver. And he wrote The Go-Giver with John David Mann, a good friend of mine as well. And they combined on Go-Giver sells more, and the Go-Giver influencer, and they're coming out with Go-Giver influencer was the last one. So yeah.
Yeah. So incredible success there, and endless referrals.
That's right. And he was the sole author of Endless Referrals, which was had a very big impact on me. And that came out like in, 2000, probably, maybe 99, somewhere in there. So yeah, Endless Referrals, great book.
So he wrote really original. Hi, Dan.
There you go. So at least he knew your name. That's good.
There's a start. And putting somebody's name on it's a big deal.
That's right. That's right. It's better than thank you.
Yes.
And then signing your name, right?
Right.
It didn't even have my name on it. I mean, literally, it was like, it literally had to be sent out automatically by some staff, right?
Yeah. That's so funny. That was so bad. So thank you. And then it's underlined a couple of times. So much for having me on your Zoom meeting call. You're a great guy and an awesome host. And I so appreciate how you and the entire group made me feel so welcome. Wishing all of you continued success. Best regards, Bob.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Good stuff. So very specific with his praise and what he was thanking you for.
Mm-hmm.
Did he use blue ink?
He did use blue ink.
What?
Yep.
Dude, that's awesome. That's new.
Slants, he did slants upward just a bit that you already observed.
So he wrote rightly.
Uh-huh.
Wrote rightly.
Wrote rightly.
Yep. And it's handwritten.
Yep.
And it's specific. And power of positive projection probably is in there a little bit.
Yep.
Did he use a PS?
Did not use a PS.
No post-it note on there?
No post-it note.
So his PS is go get his freaking book, right?
Yes.
I mean, because the books are on there, aren't they?
Yeah, the books are on there. Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of a PS,
Sell more leader and influencer, and then of course the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So it's Go Giver Leader, and it's not Go Giver Influencer.
No, there is. Yeah. So
Okay.
leader's out now, and then influencer and sell more, and then the original. So four.
I love how he's doing that. That's brilliant. So awesome. Awesome. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for coming on and one first time listener or long time listener, first time caller, baby. Love you. Love the show. Oh man. I love it. Well, thanks for being on. I appreciate it. And we'll see you in the group, man. Thanks for being here.
Can I make a special point so this will benefit everybody who's listening?
Yeah, absolutely.
The PS, when you guys skip right in the PS because for some reason people think, who cares? I'm not going to write the PS. Mm-hmm. You never find out if they ever read your note if you don't write the PS.
That's right.
So you got to do that.
The call to action. It makes I mean, here's the thing. When do you want to talk to people? Right. And some people are like, never. Like, I'm an introvert. So it's like, when do I want to talk to people? Well, kind of on my own time, my own terms. But when you really want to talk to people is when they're in a good mood. Well, I'm telling you, when they got the handwritten note, they're in a good mood. And then they text you or they call you, they're in a good mood. That's the time to talk to people and by the way, it's great to put people in a good mood and then talk to them when they're in a good mood. I love that. Thank you for, and it's like having an ad without an offer, right? Without a call to action. It's like that doesn't make sense.
And you're getting an incoming call from them, and most likely it's from their cell phone.
That's right.
So
so you get their number, and it's attractive, not chasing. They're calling you, which has power, instead of you calling them, which has less power. I mean, there's so much good stuff from it. So much.
Oh yeah, just incredible strategy. And like, but if you don't do the PS, it loses its impact because the residual effect from it, you miss out on that communication cycle and get that good vibe coming in from them. So that it's all wonderful, but if you don't do that last thing, like you lost the 10x ability out of it.
And I'll give you some tweaks on the PS. Number one, write your PS first. Write it on the left side. Write it, if your note opens up like this, write the PS over here and then write your note on the side like you would normally. The other thing too is use a Post-it. Like you're like, oh crap, I didn't leave enough room. Take a Post-it, yellow Post-it. Where are my Post-its? I just cleaned my desk and literally no Post-its, which is crazy. There is a Post-it over there, but I'm not going to go get it. So take a Post-it. Hey, had an idea, give me a call, put the Post-it right in there. It's 10 times more noticeable if it's on a Post-it anyway. So I love it. All right. That's good stuff. Everybody, we appreciate you. Dan, we appreciate you. Love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
You bet. I'll see you. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have another question here from Sherry McGuire. And Sherry says that a lot of you are also asking some other questions in the group, and we will get those questions to me. Your questions will be answered. Trust me, we'll get it. We'll make it happen. So Sherry McGuire, not to be confused with Jerry Maguire. It is Sherry McGuire, SHARIMCGUIRE. However, Sherry says, show me the money. Okay, that's not really what she said. She said, I'd like some ideas on how to hold myself self-accountable to my time block. So you're going to want to time block handwritten notes out. So this is a great question. So how do I hold myself accountable to my time block when I have it blocked off for whatever? But in this case, we'll say handwritten notes. Okay. Early on in my career in Kansas City, I did not have the handwritten note habit. Can you believe that? Yes, because nobody has the handwritten note habit except for very few people who were raised that way and are writing handwritten notes every day. But so I did not have the habit, but I knew I wanted to develop the habit. So I told my then assistant, I told her to put 5 handwritten notes on my chair on Monday morning. So when I went in, the first thing that I would do is I would write the handwritten notes. And I said, I want you to just put 5 every Monday on my chair, no matter what. And the first week she put it in there and I took them off the chair and I put them on the side of my desk and I did work, right? I just went to work, probably checked my email, probably did a lot of bad things. And when I say bad things, I just mean unproductive things. Probably went and checked the water cooler and probably walked around the office like a big dog. And then the next Monday, she put 5 more on my desk, on my seat. I took them off my seat. I put them on the other 5 that were there. And I went about my week. And then the next week, I grabbed the 5 off my chair. And when I put them on the other 10, they fell off my desk. And so they fell off my desk. I had to pick them up. So then I picked them up and I had them in my hands like this. And I was just like, what do I do here? You know what I mean? Like, do I throw them away? They're empty. They're perfectly good handwritten notes, so can't throw them away. So I just decided that I was going to do it. So I wrote one and then I wrote another and then I wrote another. And before I knew it, like I had 15 notes. I got the 14th note and the 15th note I actually wrote to my assistant, Brandy. And I wrote the note to Brandy and I just said, thank you for doing what I asked you to do. I finally did it and I felt great. Well, I felt great. And then all of a sudden I was getting the responses from the notes and it was awesome. People were like responding really well. They said I was a good business person. Well, I wasn't a good business person at that time. I was just getting started. So they complimented me and this, that, and the other. So I think there's several ways to hold yourself. One way to hold yourself accountable is to use the alarm on your phone, right? Use your alarm. I mean, when I have something like the weekly wow, it gives me a 10-minute reminder and then I get on. The next thing is you can use human accountability. And this is a big thing, is that you can have somebody call you and say, hey, listen, are you doing blank? You can have an accountability partner. You can have an assistant. You can have a coach. You can have this thing, you can have somebody who charges you, like a personal trainer, to make sure that you're accountable. And here's the thing. If you've gone all your life and you haven't been accountable to it, you're probably never going to be accountable to it on your own. You're not going to be able to summon the discipline to do that without outside accountability. That's the truth. I'd love to tell you that, you're going to automatically do it and all this, but the truth is that if it hasn't been done, it's probably not going to be done. So you've got to leverage other people, an accountability partner or an assistant. I believe the assistant is the best, because you don't want your assistant to think less of you. I wanted my assistants to think I was awesome. Does anybody else like that? If you want your assistant to think you're awesome, I want you to say awesome in the comment. Just say awesome. And you know what would be awesome is if some of you would start a watch party. I'm going to go for another 20 minutes here. Do you know how to start a watch party? It's in the upper part. There's 3 dots, or it says share. Click on the share, and then it says start watch party, and then it'll ask where to share it or where to do your watch party. Don't do it in Gen. We've already got a video playing, but start it on your timeline. Start it on your business page. Start it in your group, whatever group that is. This applies to anybody. Who should write handwritten notes? Everybody. My son writes handwritten notes. He's got handwritten notes all ready for his birthday. His birthday's coming up. And so he's going to have birthday, and everybody who comes is going to get a handwritten note from him. A thank you. So, all right. Sherry McGuire, that's probably it. I think the other thing too is to really get around feeling the win from getting it done. Like, how are you going to feel when it gets done? And this is why the 7L system, I believe, is changing the way sales is done, is because if you cold called for an hour, at the end of the hour, you don't feel good. You don't feel good. And the people you called probably don't feel good. Now, a part of you might feel good because you did something that was hard, but most of you, including your heart, does not feel good at all. Right? So guess what? It's really hard to conjure up the energy the next day to cold call again. It just is. Even if you get a listing appointment, it sucks to cold call. Think about that. Even by getting the opportunity, because you had to convince them to meet with you. I mean, it's like convincing somebody to date you. Like, if you have to convince them to date you, it's probably not going to go well. It's the same way with a listing. You had to convince them, hey, there's 4 reasons a home doesn't sell. It's price, condition, location, and marketing. Which of those 4 is probably the reason? Are you priced okay? Probably. Location, you can't change it. Condition, maybe it needs a little bit more cleanup, but that might not have been the reason it sold. But it's usually marketing, agent marketing. So the agent that you were formerly with probably didn't market it as well as I did. Would you agree with that? Maybe. Well, I mean, who am I going to blame? Myself? Am I going to blame God? No, I'm going to blame the other agent. And so are you. But here's the thing. Why don't you let me get together with you and we'll go over my marketing plan, which has been proven to sell homes faster and for more money. And in the end, you net more money in your pocket. You really want more money in your pocket, don't you? Yes, I do. Go, great. Let's meet and talk about how we can get more money in your pocket in less amount of time. That sound good? Yeah, great. Which works better for you, Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon? Looks like Saturday morning. All right, 10 a.m. Saturday works. I'll be there about 9:55, and I'll be there, and you might even get a packet in the mail before I arrive, and just make sure you go through that packet before I get there, and we'll see you there at 10 a.m. Right? So here's the thing, right? We just had to, then I get there and we talk about the marketing plan and so on and so forth. And then when it doesn't sell, what are they going to blame? They're going to blame me when it's really the price. So anyway, all right. I have another question here. Sherry, if that answered your question, let me know. If it didn't, or you have a follow-up question, please let me know that as well. All right. So Angela Gribbins says, can you tell us more about the certified referral trainer training that is coming up in November? Angela, I appreciate the question. So how did certified referral training come about? Is what happened is we had people who wanted to run book clubs. They wanted to, and were wanting to charge. What was funny is some of them were doing free book clubs, and I'm not a fan of that. I'm not. I'm a fan of charging for book clubs. I am, because if you charge people for a book club, even if you just make them buy the book, they will show up for the book club. Otherwise, they won't, because you know what? We live in a cancel society instead of a commit society. Whole nother topic for another day. But I'm going to tell you right now that they wanted to speak on 7L, teach the concepts of 7L, and 7L, the system, started out like this, and it was becoming this, right? We were doing the yaps, and we were doing this full-blown yearly plan, and this, I mean, so people wanted to learn more, and they wanted to dive deeper. And the number one way to get referrals, I hate to disclose this right now, this is like a secret. You want to know the number one way to get referrals? I'll tell you in a second. Okay, I'm going to tell you in a second. Literally, a second went by. I'm going to tell you right now. The number one way to get referrals is to speak on referrals, to speak in front of groups about getting referrals. Well, a lot of people like, well, I'm not sure. They wanted help putting their content together. They wanted help to put their story together. And so that's what certified referral training is let's help people put their story, put their training, and then they can charge for their training because it's good. And we took people who just had an idea and we put together something really good. I mean, people, Polly and Tommy and Neil Smith and a lot of people, they have these really pictorial, these really professional, really put together presentations that they can charge for, and they can help people with what's next, because people are interested in doing things with them after they hear their story and the concept and the implementation of the strategy. Then, so we were getting these CRTs together, and so they were practicing. And then I was like, okay, these people are good. So I thought, you know what we need to do? We need to have CRT where like they are going to learn, they're going to practice, and then they are going to speak to a live audience. That's right. They went from not even having a presentation or having spoken in front of people before to literally by day 3 or day 4, we actually sold tickets for people to come in, and they did their 10-minute presentation in front of a live audience as the culminating event, culminating test, if you will, for what they, and I'm telling you, they knocked it out of the park. I was so proud. I was like a dad, like times 30. And then the word spread, people wanted to do it more. So we did another one, and then we did a 2-day event after it. And it was Referral Mastery Summit. And then guess what? Last year, or 2019, we did the Certified Referral training. And then we did our annual conference. This is 2 years ago. I'm sorry. Our annual Referral Mastery Summit, which was 2.5 days, live, 30-minute sessions, based off the star power concept. And it was just amazing. So and here's the thing, to speak at Referral Mastery Summit, you need to be a CRT. So, and I'm telling you, some of the greatest people in the world are certified referral trainers. We partner with each other. We root for each other. The whole slogan of CRT is "You got this." Like somebody's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to go speak to 100 salespeople. You got this. You got this. And we're all supporting. I'm telling you, it's like a family within a family. And I love it. Speaking of CRTs, let's bring on a CRT. So we're going to bring on Tommy Sandvik, one of the favorites from the Generosity Generation. He is bumping on. There we go. Howdy, howdy. How's Tommy Sandvik today?
Fantastic.
Very good. Well, you are my second ever live guest on,
Woo!
it's like a radio show, except on steroids, right? I can actually see you. If I had some visual aids, I could like literally like, oh, so you need some help with sweet dreams, right? So it's, I think there's some potential to this jam session, you know, that my favorite visual aid right here.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
7 levels of communication. So, so how can I help you today, brother? Introduce yourself. Let people know who you are for the one person in the entire group who doesn't know who you are.
Yes. Okay. So I'm Tommy with an H. Yeah, and I'm full-time referrals trainer and strategic coach, and coach with Referco as well. And yeah, so rolling it out, this getting things up and going after MRMS, taking all that momentum forward. So it's been fun.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I think my question is, I kind of have two actually,
Okay.
but one's more directly 7L related, and that's about the 7-week Fbomb.
Yeah.
So yeah. I would love to hear your 7-week Fbomb recommendation.
Yeah.
And even how you even mix in with the chosen one in that process, to see if I'm on the right track for kind of what I've developed so far.
All right. So the Fbomb, I love just saying that. So the Fbomb, the F word in business or the F word in sales, unfortunately for a long time, the F word in sales was the 4-letter word that we can't say, right? Or shouldn't say. But there's a new F word in sales, and it's follow-up. You know, the fortune is in the follow-up. So I would meet with someone and I would write them a handwritten note. And I'm telling you, if your Fbomb is just a handwritten note after a meeting, you win, and it directly relates to November. But I didn't want to just stop there. Like anything I do, I optimize it for the long term, and I want it to blow people away. This is the weekly wow. I want it to be a wow, like words of wisdom. Wow. Like every time we do this show, I want somebody to say at least wow once during the show. And that's what we did with the Fbomb, is that we would follow up 7 weeks with 7 different things to the people who I met with. So when I met with someone, I would then do the 333 or 444. And the 333 is a handwritten note. I would call and leave a voicemail using slide dial on their cell phone. And I would email them and say, man, it was so nice to meet you. Thank you. This is the email for me. So, you know, we can continue the conversation through email if you want. And it was very short and sweet. And it was actually, I had it in notes in my phone, the exact email. So all I had to do is copy, paste it, send the email, and you know, we're off and running. So the 333 and then the 444 just added a text message to it, right? And this is straight from 7L. This is the follow-up text combined with kind of the 333. And the follow-up text is, as soon as they leave, you just text them and say, man, that was awesome. So great to meet you. Great to hear about your kids. Great to hear about your golf game. And looking forward to future communication. That's it. Then they would get all that the first week, right? They would get the text, they would get the voicemail, they would get the email, they would get the handwritten note, maybe 3 or 4 days later. The next week, the next part of the Fbomb would go out, the second week. And the second week was a postcard. And here's the thing. The power of the Fbomb is that when I meet with people, they talk 80 to 90% of the time. I learn more about them than their spouses know about them in 1 hour or 90 minutes. I mean, I'm asking, oh, really? Wow. You know, what did you do after they found you in bed? Right. I mean, it's like, I'm like asking the question behind the question behind the question. And like, I literally know them better than probably anybody they're met. They don't know anything about me, which I love, right? They don't know it. I'm an introvert, so I don't want people to know about me necessarily. But I did want them to know that I had a business and that I wanted their referrals. So there's 4 postcards out of the 7 contacts. This is 7 contacts in 7 weeks. The first one was the 333 or 444. Then you had a postcard and a postcard. And the postcard, I'll try to draw it. What's funny is that when you use symbols and acronyms for things, you remember it forever, right?
Mm. And while you're doing that, I want to point out, I'm learning like legit right now. I have never heard that whatever you're about to reveal. Yeah. I've never heard it, and I've absorbed everything that's out there. So this is awesome. I love it.
So this, and I know that we promised with the weekly wow we would do no math, but this is a mathematical symbol, right? And so it is a summation sign, right there, right here. That's summation. That means the sum of. And then this is U equals 1. This is the infinity symbol. And then the R is for, it means all real numbers in mathematics, but in this case, it means referrals, right? So in our math, which was the Maher team math, it's, we're not number 1, you are, U equals 1. And we are the sum of our parts. We are a team who can help you. We want to be your real estate consultant for life, which means infinite. And then we work primarily by referrals. So we would send this mathematical symbol on 4 different postcards. And literally the first postcard was, I don't know if you know it, but we work primarily by referrals. And it would have that really cool cursive R on it, right? And then the next one would be, we're not number 1, you are. Our entire focus is you. Yes, we are number 1 in the office. Yes, we've been number 1 at a lot of things, but who cares? What you care about is how you're treated. We know that you are number 1 at any time. If you feel like you're not number 1, let us know, but we believe that we're not number 1, you are. Then we would send the, and by the way, the only thing on that was U equals 1 at the top. And then we would send the summation sign. And the summation sign was, it's not one person trying to be everything to everybody. It is a team of people who are here to serve you. We are a team of specialists. I hate paperwork, but is paperwork pretty important in real estate? The answer is yes. You can mess a lot up with the absence of one paper or even one word. And guess what? We have the best person for contracts in the entire city working with us, right? So we are a team of specialists. And that was another big thing. And then it was that 4th one, which we would have the big infinity sign, and it would said, we want to be your real estate consultant for life. Literally any question you have, I don't care if you buy on Mars, any question you have, we're going to either have the answer, help you get the answer, or find the answer. And we want to be your real estate consultant for life. And when you have a property to sell, or you have a question about real estate, or a friend who has a real estate question, then we want to be the ones you call. And then, so it would go 444, and then it would be the postcard, phone call. And then it was postcard, phone call. And the last phone call was to schedule something. Or it was postcard, phone call, invite them to an event or see them at an event. Postcard, phone call to talk about an event, invite them to an event, or schedule a one-on-one, or invite them to a board of advisors top yet, right? So, and here's the thing, we belabored this. I've talked like 7 minutes about it, or 10 minutes, but it's easier than you think because it was all automated. I didn't see any of the postcards. All I saw was it went out and then, it went out automatically. So it was automated. It was a system. And can you imagine being on the recipient end of that from a networker standpoint? You just met with someone, they let you talk the whole time. They love you, right? And you loved it because you talked the whole time. And then you got a handwritten note, you got a text, you got an email, you got a phone call that all said thank you. And then the next week you got a postcard, just a reminder. It's like, you're like, I don't even know what this guy does, And then it's like a postcard kind of explains it. And then another postcard kind of explains it. And then at the end, you get a postcard with all the symbols and it like puts it all together. So it was fun.
That is incredible. That
Yeah,
is absolutely incredible.
We called it we called it the Fbomb for a reason. Is I had an assistant named Ashley. Hi, Ashley Campbell. Hopefully, and Ashley has a couple of kids and lives in Western Kansas now. But the thing is she's like the most straight-laced, she came from Western Kansas. She'd probably never heard the F word, right? Never cussed in her life. You know, went to church on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, I think. And so I just had to name it the F-bomb because I wanted, hey, Ashley, we've got to drop another F-bomb today. Right. So we all laughed and she blushed and it was fun. So thanks for bringing that up, dude. I haven't talked about the F-bomb.
Yeah. I mean, my mind's rolling now. My mind's rolling. So I love it.
Yeah.
I can see the magic in that.
Yeah.
All right. Do I get a second question?
Yes.
Oh, also do. All right. The second question is, what is the number one resource you recommend for people who want to create content for no matter what area they're in, but you have a very different style of creating training than what's mostly out there. And I'm speaking largely of the internet marketing world, create a webinar, do those things. What's your number one resource? I know I asked you when we recorded for RMS, but I want that first book to go to for curriculum development that you recommend.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is a really good question. And I'm not sure if I have a great answer for you, to be totally honest. I mean, you're asking me what book would be best for curriculum development. I'm going to tell you my answer to that. Okay. And the answer, and now take this the right way, please.
Okay.
The who is not you. The who is not you. Don't be a great curriculum development person. My dad used to say, don't be a PhD, Michael. Hire PhDs, right? Why do you think I married Sherry? Right? I mean, it's like I hired a great looking, awesome gal to be my wife for my entire life, right? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, right? So it's like, don't be a PhD, date PhDs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, instead of like learning all of it, find somebody who's already learned all of it and have them do your curriculum development. Right. We have Sagar, right? We have that's actually his name, Sagar. And he does a lot of it. He does a lot of the prettiness and the design and looks and that kind of thing. So I think that's the first step. And then,
cool.
And then what do you do is ask your audience, ask the people, what they want and what they want to do. And then help them do it. That's how Sweet Dreams came about, is people were frustrated with the morning ritual. It wasn't sticking. And it's like, yeah, because you're going to bed at midnight one night, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 1 a.m., you're all over the place. So it's like, and you don't have a ritual to start the ritual. So that's where the nightly ritual really helps people, is they have a better morning ritual because they have a better nightly ritual. And so we designed it, right?
Love it. Cool.
That help?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. My pleasure. Thanks, man. I appreciate you being on, and we're going to wrap this show up. You rock. All right. I'm going to remove you. Don't take it personally.
All right.
And bye. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the weekly wow, words of wisdom. We did a little jam session today. Thank you for your patience, as I'm sure that was interesting to observe and watch. And I had fun. I don't know if you did or not. Let me know in the comments below. Do you like this setup? Did you like how this went? Was it fun for you? Did I know what the questions were going to be? I had no clue what the questions were going to be. But you know what I appreciate? I appreciate Mary. I appreciate Dan. I appreciate Sherry McGuire and Sherry Maher. And I appreciate Tommy. And I appreciate Angela's question about CRT as well. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, do me a favor, rate and review, subscribe if you feel so inclined. But here's the other thing, join GenGen, join GenGen.com, join JOINGENGEN.com, Generosity Generation Group. Bottom line is, welcome to the Tribe of Trust. Welcome to the Generosity Generation. We appreciate all of you. We love all of you. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Wow.